You are now tuned in to your number one radio station.
Listen to the word live.
Alright, fam. I put the title up there. You know why I put it like that? I'm finna go ahead and get into my real message. But I put the title up there to get our people to come on in. Alright. Now, the real message is about this right here. Yeah. We're gonna be talking about the kingdom of Wydah. The kingdom of Wydah. Let me go ahead and start reading. I want to say again, shalom to all those who come and listen to this message afterwards. Kingdom of Wydah. Kingdom of Wydah. And the kingdom of Wydah is known locally as Glehui, but also known and spelled in old literature as Wydah, Judah, Auda, Wydah, Judah, Yaruba, Igelefe, French, Auda. Remember Ola Uda Aquiano? Auda. And where does that spring from? Judah. All right. Was a kingdom on the coast of West Africa and what is now Benin in West Africa. It was a major slave trading area which exported more than 1 million Africans to the United States. Now, it was the kingdom of Judah that was exporting. Let's go over to the Ottoman Empire. Okay. Ottoman Empire, known as one of history's, and I'll post all these links underneath the video when I'm done, known as one of history's most powerful empires, the Ottoman Empire grew from a Turkish stronghold in Anatolia into a vast state that at its peak reached as far north as Vienna, Austria, and as far east as the Persian Gulf, as far west as Algeria, and as far south as Yemen. The empire's success lay in its centralized structure as much as its territory. Control of some of the world's most lucrative trade routes led to the vast wealth, while its impeccably organized, not disorganized, impeccably organized military system led to military might. They was fighting somebody. But all empires that rise must fall. The 6 centuries after the Ottoman Empire emerged, the battlefields of Anatolia, it fell apart catastrophically in the theater of World War I. In World War I, Negroes was fighting for freedom. Remember that. In World War I, Negroes were fighting for freedom. And at that time, they were called Seminoles. And in different places, they were called different names because whatever tribe that they was, after Abraham Lincoln got murdered, what they call assassinated, when Abraham Lincoln got murdered, they said they freed the slaves, and it was free for a little bit, and then they instituted it back in with the 13th Amendment. So this is after World War I. All right. And then they made that song, that diss track that we sang the national anthem. Now let's go to Dahomey. Now we're going to see what was going on. Now this is 1600s. The kingdom of Dahomey was a West African kingdom located within the present-day Benin that existed from approximately 1600 until 1904. Remember this, it developed on the Abami Plateau amongst the Fan in the early 17th century and became a regional power in the 18th century. All right. By expanding south, this is Dahomey, not Wydah. The Dahomey kingdom was ran by the Fan people. In early 17th century, it became a regional power in the 18th century. By expanding south to conquer key cities like Wydah, key cities. Remember that it's a key cities, not any random just grabbing Africans from which and everywhere. It was a military organized thing. Wydah belonged to the kingdom of Wydah. It belonged to the kingdom, and what we just read right here, it belonged to the kingdom of Judah. I'm Judah. Judah. Our Yahabadah is Judah. And remember Ola Aquino? The capital of Ouda is found, and where the Brazilians call it them stay? Shalom, Valentina. And Cameroon. So the capital of they call it Yaoundé. The capital in Yaoundé means Judah. So the capital of Wydah is Judah. They call it Ile-Efe. All right. And it's in Benin. It used to be a part. All of the West Africa was. And so now, and look here. The kingdom of Wydah, which is Judah, was centered in Savi. It also had connections to the city of Ouda. See that? The last ruler of Wydah was King Hafan, who was deposed in 1727. In 1727, when Wydah was conquered and annexed by the kingdom of Dahomey. Remember that. So the kingdom of Wydah was called these names. Right here. Ile-Efe, Yoruba. The French called them Ouda. Let's go up some more. Ouda, Wydah, Judah, Ouda, Wydah, Judah, Yoruba. So that's what Yoruba derived from Yahweh Da. So y'all see that, and you see the French is involved in it. And you remember we did a study on the French when the Gauls came down there and conquered a city of Rome. What is modern day France? When the Gauls came down there, who were called the Scythians or the Garmites, they came down and conquered that city of Rome, and the Romans said it was a great hazing. What happened to them? So now let's go down here. Let's go over here. Now look at this right here. History. The Negro race in America. Now Negroes was not just sent to America. So remember, I want y'all to get this book. History of the Negro race in America. Yahweh willing, I seen you. This one right here too. This is about the kingdom of Dahomey. I got it on page 4. Let's go to page 1. Go to page 1. This right here comes from the National Geographic. Let's go back. So let's read a little bit more. And I told y'all before that I was gonna do something on this kingdom, but I never did. I got off of it. I was really tired. All right. Osman I, a leader of the nomadic Turkic tribe from Anatolia, modern day Turkey, began conquering the region in the late 13th century by launching raids against the weakened Christian Byzantine Empire around 1299. He declared himself supreme leader of Asia Minor. Remember, Asia is one of the sons of Japheth. And remember, that was a embassy, that was a colony over there where the Europeans had came in and was renaming everybody in the Grecian, with the Grecian ways that they do, Hellenizing people, which what we'll call civilizing, or what they say, assimilating people inside of their culture, which is doing away with the other people's culture. Now, this is not an African, as we can see. His successor expanded farther and farther into Byzantine territory. So these people were breaking down inside of Byzantine territory with the help of foreign mercenaries. So these people had people that was on deck for help. In 1453, Osman's descendants, known as the Ottomans, right here, they were known as the Ottomans. So y'all see that. So let's go back over here to Dahomey, right here. I'm almost done. It's just gonna be a short, quick video. All right, and I come in and see if any questions or any statements before I get off of here. So we're gonna read this again, all right, but not the whole thing. So let's go up to, we're gonna go up to the first paragraph. Dahomey, the kingdom of Dahomey, was a West African kingdom located within present-day Benin that existed from approximately 1600 until 1904. It developed on the Abami Plateau amongst the Fon people in the early 17th century. Amongst the Fon people, forgive me, but Fon, you remember Asia, we was talking about Asia. Fon, like I showed y'all can look on my community wall and it'll show you where Fon derives from. Fon derives from the Asian language, the Chinese language, all right? In the early 17th century, and became a regional power in the 18th century. By expanding south, when they said south, they mean going down into Africa, expanding. So they took over up there and it was expanding down. So it was a routine military, fully armored, tactical thing that it was doing. They was not just going in there all willy-nilly. They had maps, they had everything that they needed for this military conquest. Expanding south to conquer key cities like Wydah, belonging to the kingdom of Judah. Wydah on the Atlantic coast. Atlantic is Greek for Cushite Ocean. Atlantic coast, Kawashawam coast, which granted it unhindered access to the transcontinental Atlantic slave trade. So look here, this is what happened, and this is what it granted them. So when they defeated the kingdom of Wydah, which were war captives, for much of the middle 9th century, the kingdom of Dahomey became a key regional state after eventually ending tribally status to the Oyo Empire. European visitors extensively documented the kingdom and it became one of the most familiar African nations. Europeans. The kingdom of Dahomey was an important regional power that had an organized domestic economic built on conquest and slave labor. So this slave trade war was built on conquest of land and resources and slave trade labor. Significantly, international trade and diplomatic relationships with Europeans and centralized administration, taxation systems, and organized military. Notable organized military, not disorganized, just grabbing any random Negro. Notable in the kingdom were significant artwork. An all-female military unit called the Dahomey Amazons, those sisters in Africa. By European observers, and elaborate religious practices of voodoo, juju, the growth of Dahomey coincided with the growth of the Atlantic slave trade. So the building of Dahomey did not include this tribe that they conquered. So the European military and all that came in, took over this kingdom, started selling them across the water to Europeans as major supplier of Slavs slaves. So look, the growth of Dahomey coincided with the growth of the transatlantic slave trade, and I'm gonna put it like it is, war. That's why I didn't say that no World War One. I don't believe that the war that they called World War One when we was fighting. This right here, it's been a lot of wars. The war of Nebuchadnezzar, all the way down to this kingdom. And it became known to Europeans. As a major supplier of slaves. So the kingdom of Wydah, the conquered nation that was conquered, now they was being sold as slaves. And you read the side of history, those Negroes that were put on those ships were war captains. They were mighty warriors, fighters. Dahomey, and you look at Olaudah Aquino in his book, he showed you that his father, they was raising their children to be warriors. He climbed up in the tree to spy out the land and see who all was coming. They was coming for a specific tribe, all right? Dahomey was a highly military society, constantly organized for warfare. So look at this. So if the same people that was trading is the same people that set up the strongest military that the world ever seen, in Florida, in Mexico, and in Northern America and Southern America, the strongest military, there's not nobody that come in without tactical information, without a correct, they had ops, they had things set up, they had people to catch the ops, all right, and engage in war and raise it against this kingdom that was destroyed, raised against neighboring nations. So look at this right here. So it wasn't the Dahomey people, it was neighboring nation. So look at engage in wars and raids against neighboring nations, tribes, and sold captives who didn't just sit there and take it into Atlantic slave trade in exchange for European goods such as rifles, gunpowder, fabrics, cowrie shells, tobacco, pipes, and alcohol. Now, when they got our sisters and our brothers, which is our grandfather and grandmothers on the ship, they you know what they did to them once they sold them for alcohol and all the other stuff. But the alcohol is the one I want y'all to look at. The alcohol. What did they do? They made them bed wenches and bucks. What did they do? Breed. They had breeding farms in the colonies. Other captives became slaves in Dahomey, where they worked on royal plantations. Shalom, Vanta Black. Thank you, Val, for letting me know. So they had a lot of, so other captives became slaves in Dahomey, where they worked as royal plantation on royal plantations. All right, or were killed in human sacrifice. Remember, human sacrifice during the festival of celebrations known as Annual Customs of Dahomey. The Annual Customs of Dahomey involve significant collections and distributions of gifts and tribute, religious voodoo ceremonies, military parades, and discussions by dignitaries about future for the kingdom. So if Dahomey wanted to be like even Messiah said, if Satan casts out Satan, how can his kingdom stand? So in order for them to destroy Dahomey, they can't just not attack Dahomey. In order for them to destroy Wydah, Judah, they couldn't just start attacking their own selves. They attacked Wydah. That's why I said that they conquered the kingdom of Judah right here. Look at this. In the 1840s, Dahomey began to face decline with British pressure to abolish the slave trade. So this is Britain getting involved now to abolish the slave trade. So all this go throughout history, which include the British Royal Navy imposing a naval blockade against the kingdom and enforce anti-slavery patrols near its coast. So after that war, you got to remember, after that war, and people started, they was fighting hard. So what they started to do is the Europeans started shutting down the slave trade. All right. I believe it was going against human rights or whatever it may be, but they started shutting it down. Dahomey was also weakened after failing to invade and capture slaves in Abakuta, a Yoruba city. So who was they attacking at? Look, it didn't say a whatever African you want to go and get. No, a Yoruba city. And what Yoruba derived from? Yahabada, Judah city, a Yoruba city. Not just jumping all over everywhere, a Yoruba city, which was founded by the Oyo Empire refugees. Oyo Empire refugees migrating Slavs in Abakuta, a Yoruba city which was founded by the Oyo Empire refugees migrating. I'm going to read a little bit more, and that's going to be it. Okay, shalom to y'all in the background listening. Southward Dahomey later began experiencing territory disputes with France. So was that the Africans or was that France fighting with another colonizer? Which led to war in 1890. So then they fighting for the resources, and the ones that were slave catchers, the Africans tribes, that specific job was slave catchers, not being the one that's going catching their own self. Oh, I tie my own hand up and throw myself in the ground. No, they ain't do that. They tied up the tribes that this military had strategically set out to catch, to destroy this kingdom of Wydah. War in 1890, a part of the kingdom became a French. Thank you, fam. Began to be a French protectorate. The kingdom fell 4 years later. Now look, America and the militaries and the people that was going in to catch and do this and that and the other, they did not just go in and just grab any random one. That's why they had interpreters. That's why they had this thing mapped out. That's why they had tribes that knew who these people was, that knew who the people was that came down inside of their land when they fled out of Spain and Portugal inside of the land because they couldn't stay in Northeast Africa anymore. So they was trying to find as one of the the Negro priest was saying in Africa on the sister page. I think her name is Abigail, Sister Abigail. How the priest was saying how this thing was going, and renewing fighting resulting in the last king, Bahazin, to be overthrown and the country annexed into French West Africa. All right, so look at this right here. So if you take down the kingdom, you have to fight their military. Before you could get to the people that they call peasants, the ones that flee, or the injured soldiers, or the soldiers that retreated or whatever, they was fighting a military. All right, which renewed fighting results in the last king, Behazin, to be overthrown and the country annexed in French West Africa. All right, French Dahomey would gain independence. French Dahomey would gain independence in 1960. All right, that's around the time when Elder Martin Luther King and Elder Malcolm X and a lot of them was marching on Washington and all type of stuff. So this is when the French Dahomey would gain independence in 1960 as the Republic of Dahomey, which would rename itself Benin in 1975. So that's when apartheid was supposed to be getting dealt with. All right, the ANC and all that stuff what we hear about. All right, I'm gonna leave that alone. Read a little bit more of this and I'm finna get off of here. All right, I get to the comments as soon as I get done with this. Name. The name Wydah is angelicized from, I don't know that, pronounced I think Ida, from Gabe language and people of Benin. Today, the Beninese city of Oudah, remember Oudah Aquino, bears the kingdom name. To the west of it is the former Popo Kingdom, where most of the European slave traders lived and worked. Popo. The area gives its name to the native Wydah bird and Wydah galley, that means ship, a slave ship turned pirate ship owned by pirate captains Black Sam Bellamy. That was a Negro that fought in the ship, Black Sam. And if you want to say it in the Spanish, because Spain was catching slaves too and bringing us to Florida, where a lot of us was being brought. My granddaddy was born in Florida. He was a Negro Seminole. It's Negro Sam, and in Latin, it's Nigger Sam Bellamy, and that means black. But in America, it don't mean black. It means black and everything else that's horrible with American culture. Its wreck has been explored in Massachusetts. So this is where the Negroes derive from. The Negroes derive from Wydah, all right? Judah, the ones that was brought in the transatlantic slave trade war. And it says, according to one European who visited in 1692, 17, and remember the Bible was published, the King James Version that was published in 1611, the original 1611 version, had all of the books in there that they took out. And they called them apocryphal, which means hidden in Latin, because the Romans spoke Latin. All right, in 1692, 1700s, they had books published in that time. But there's books that was older than that. All right, some in the 1500s that was published. But the original people of the book is Judah, right? And Israel, not just Judah, but Israel as well. That's Yasha Allah. It's 12 sons. Really, it's 13, but one was called out unto Yahweh for himself. And in all who believe in him inside of the tribes, they are all called out to be priests unto Yahweh. And the other people who don't receive Messiah, they're not like Lawa. They're not, they blood, but they not gonna make it if they don't confess Messiah and trust in the Lamb. Wydah was a center of the ancient African slave trade. That's the center, okay? That was the center of the African slave trade. So in order for that to be a center of the African slave trade, you had to beat down and destroy the military of that kingdom. All right, that same kingdom that left from Spain and Portugal. In order for that to be a set up embassy where they ruling it all like that, they had to first to fight and destroy the kingdom. And remember, a lot of the people of that kingdom had fled out of there, and they went to another city of Yoruba that those people were not able to conquer at that time because it didn't work out for them. Selling some 1,000 slaves a month. Selling some 1,000 slaves a month. Mainly taking captives. Captive, when you're taking captive, I mean you was a soldier, a warrior, from villages in the interior of Africa. For this reason, it has been considered a principal market for slaves when the great chief, that's the Shah, the great chief called king by Europeans, could not supply the traders with sufficient slaves, he would supplement them with his own wives. Robbery was coming. Every person in Wydah paid a toll to the king, but corruption among slave traders was endemic. Despite this, the king was wealthy and clothed in gold and silver, which were otherwise little known in Wydah. He commanded great respect and unusually was never seen to eat. The color red was reserved for the royal family. The king was considered immortal, although successful kings were recognized as dying of natural causes. All right, so when you look at this right here, the rich, the very wealthy of this people of Judah, they were able to pay the fines and fees in Spain and Portugal and stay up there for a time. But they even started to being sold into slavery. The ones that accepted the Roman religion, you know, the Romans that was there when Messiah was on earth, the Roman religion, they didn't receive the Roman religion, which was syncretism. They didn't receive that because it was against the real Messiah. So the ones that didn't receive it, they were tortured. And the ones that did receive it after a while, the ones that received it was called Moors in certain areas. And the ones that didn't receive it was called Moors. And the ones that did receive it was called Moriscos. And they said it means they were Muslims. But you got to remember, a sister, I think her name is Yawana, she did a video showing, and she's right, because even a Arab man told me that their book derived from the Bible. All right, so they studied the Yahabadah. So the Quran is their rendition of the culture of Wydah, just like you got the Negroes that was making rock and roll, and then you got another agenda of rock and roll. Just like you got, everybody got using Messiah like he's an action figure, you know. They got everybody got their own action figure. All right. But the original one is not an action figure. He died on the tree because he was lynched for his people. Rome wasn't lynching Romans. Europeans weren't lynching Europeans. The ones that was ruling over the colony wasn't lynching each other. They was lynching people that they said that they mistook for Cushites and for Ethiopians. For Egyptians, ancient Egyptians. All right. So you got to look at this thing through the lens of truth and not in the lens of falsiality. And I'm going to show you the picture right there. That's the picture, Crowning of the King of Judah by Jacob Van Deer. So this was a painting that they drew it at, and they said he had multiple wives. They had Kahan out there and everything. All right. So even the king that was set over the people was later on brought into slavery. All right, Mashpaka, I'm about to get off of here. And if you want to see any more about this subject, you can read this out of your Bible. I will share the information with you that I did today underneath the video when I'm done. I hope that you will share this video, and let's keep on having this conversation. Allow people to hear the truth, because the scriptures say you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Make you free. All right. And it said a nation without a vision will perish. So we need to be praying that our people will repent of their transgression and come to Messiah. When they say pray for the peace of your Yerushalayim, they shall prosper that love thee. Shalom, Professor Lovely Lady. When they say pray for the peace of your Yerushalayim, they shall prosper that love thee. Brother Elder Yonago Lab, he showed that they said that, and I posted up the thing that he got up there. You could go and click on that link, and you can find out where to watch his videos. But he showed on that link, you can see it for yourself, that that plaque that was posted up that they wrote years ago says that the mother of them is the Roman Catholic Church, but the mother of us is Yerushalayim. The mother of Yerushalayim is Yasharal's mother. So that's another mama. We got to cleave unto Yahweh and unto his Quadash city. All right. Shalom to the Mashpaka. Hope you enjoy the outro, the track that I got set up for y'all. And please stay for the outro and press a like, and let me know what you learned under the video or what you liked about the video. And if you got any more ideas, I will do that. I want to say shalom. Thank you for coming and listening, and blessings to everyone that'll come hereafter. Shalom.
If you know not, almost beautiful among women, gon' go forward by the footsteps of the flock, and feed your kids beside the shepherd's tents. I've compared you to the company of horsemen and now listen here, let me tell you something. I ain't going nowhere, let me show you. Cause you all I need, and the woman I ain't done yet, but just moment. I get your popcorn and just sit back, go close your eyes. Let me whisper to you from the river out of y'all made a bone me. The bone of my bone and the flesh of my flesh. You are, you were more precious than the gold of the diamond. If I hold them up the on the scale, that's a mockery. And ain't nobody else, I got my own sister, so I drink on a daily basis. I won't resign, no guilt up here, bed on the bow, so we trust in the hill. A real beauty that I like to see. Salivated on sight, she the one for me. I'm gonna squeeze like an orange every time that I see her. You the only woman for me to the end of my life. Wanna serve you like a man should. Till the last time I chose you to be mine, so I left daddy in my house, so we joined like a vine. See, the love of my heart won't die, no. You the best that ever had, babe. You the best that ever had. You the best that ever had, babe. Now could you stay, could you stay? You the best that ever had, babe. You the best that ever had. You the best that ever had, babe. You the best. Now people acting like we wrong for the E-Ross, but who care what they say? I wrote a song for the babe. Beautiful black queen, give me a kiss in the way. Let her love spread like a palm tree in the bay. My bird told them when I see you working on it. My name got praise in the street, pay you work, ain't looking for nobody else, baby, you out thirst. JJ, give away, get back, ain't playing. In the cold world, you still faithful. Real daughter, I ain't lying, it's so great. Lot of sister honor, but this one I gave you. Daughter of a judge, so I gotta treat you right. If I don't love you, then my prayer won't work. It don't matter how another look good in a skirt or a t-shirt or whatever on. Ain't no matter what I feel, got my mind at home. Ain't nobody better than nobody. Got a woman that I love, pretty lady, you'll kill, bust a buzz or a tilt. I feel elated, my rap songs only abbreviate. I'm a feel, ain't that real? Dedicated to set apart love. Not an animated or overrated. Instead you waiting for what to be back. You know me, so I dedicated to the day that I go to sleep, and that's all. You the best that ever had, babe. You the best that ever had. You the best that ever had, babe. Now could you stay, could you stay? You the best that ever had, babe. You the best that ever had. You the best that ever had, babe. You the best. You the best that ever had, babe. You the best that ever had. You the best that ever had, babe. Could you stay, could you stay? You the best that ever had, babe. You the best that ever had. You the best that ever had, babe. Best. Marriage is honorable. In the bed under fire. I know the world wanna make marriage between a man and a woman Empire made Adam and Hawa to do to till the earth. A lot of us done lost our compass, done lost our way. Need to return back to the way, the truth, and the life.